Welcome in, and thanks for joining us for the WHHI Daily News, where we strive to bring you more Lowcountry news more often. I'm Bob Stevens. We begin with governments usually preferring to try to ignore rumors that are floating around on social media, but both Beaufort County and the town of Hilton Head are actively trying to nip talk that a boat landing near the island's Cross Island Bridge is closing. The town and the county say the boat ramp at Palmetto Bay is staying open as the town transfers ownership to the county, which is likely to make that area the departure point for the Defusky Island Ferry in the future. The county is also condemning property next to the landing for improvements and parking. If you think the COVID crisis is over, do not tell your Congresswoman. Nancy Mace has tested positive for COVID for the third time since the pandemic began, missing recent votes and hearings on Capitol Hill. She also tested positive early in the pandemic back in June of 2020 and again in January of 22. She said she was fully vaccinated in the spring of 2021. Nationally, hospitalizations are up a bit over the past couple of weeks after months of declines. South Carolina's housing market cooling just a bit, but reports from business network CNBC says we still have the second strongest market in the country, only behind Florida. The network says that homeowners in the Palmetto State enjoyed solid price appreciation going into 2023. Prices are, though, still more affordable than the rest of the region. Their study does warn of rising foreclosure rates. Georgia ranks as the fifth strongest housing market. Law enforcement officers have arrested one alleged killer from this spring, are still looking for one from this past weekend. Beaufort police have arrested 19-year-old Lavent Frazier from Yemasee in connection with the Easter shooting death of 21-year-old Davion Reed of Ridgeland at the Cross Creek Apartments. Jasper County deputies are still looking for the trigger man in the shooting death of 29-year-old Albert Hayward at a Ridgeland nightclub over the weekend. They do think they have a suspect in that killing. And Yemasee police are still trying to corral a number of shooters who fired off nearly 100 shots, but incredibly didn't hit anyone recently. Police say 4 different calibers of shells were found at the scene. And here's a bit of collision data between studies of South Carolina drivers. Earlier this year, Forbes reported that South Carolina's drivers were the 10th worst in the country, but the insurance researcher Quote Wizard now says drivers in Greenville and Charleston are ranked in the top 25 best drivers in the country among 70 larger cities. Greenville's drivers rank 23rd, Charleston's 25th, based on things like rates of accidents, speeding tickets, and DUIs. The people at Open Table say outdoor dining is up almost 20% this year and have put Charlie's Coastal Bistro of Hilton Head Island as one of its 100 most popular restaurants for outdoor dining in America for the second straight year, using reviews by over 13 million Open Table customers. Sobeys New South Cuisine in downtown Greenville, the only other South Carolina restaurant to make that list. For more information on these and other Lowcountry stories, we invite you to visit the sources listed on your screen. Still a lot of sports going on in the Lowcountry as the high school football teams gear up to start practice next week. We got a lot of other balls being thrown around. Justin Jarrett has the latest.
Hey, it's time for Last Night in the Loco on WHHI, powered by LowcoSports.com. The H2 Lowco girls basketball program emerged 3 years ago to provide the Lowco's top girls hoops talent with a platform to hone their skills while playing against the best competition they could find and turn college coaches' gaze in this direction when they're recruiting their next crop of players. That mission has been accomplished and then some. H2 took 3 teams of Lowco standouts on the road for a 2-week-long NCAA live recruiting periods, and the ladies of the Lowco showed out. Earlier this month at the Run for Roses in Louisville, Kentucky, the H2 2024 squad won their bracket when LowcoSports Girls Player of the Year Mya Hutchinson nailed a buzzer-beating floater to down a squad from New York in the championship game. The class of 24, 25, and 27 were all in action again last week at the Select Super Showcase in Atlanta. No brackets this time, just a showcase event with hand-picked games, but the Lowco squads held their own against stiff competition and continued to raise the area's profile in the recruiting world. Several of the rising seniors picked up multiple scholarship offers over the course of the month as Hutchinson and HHCA teammates Devin Yard and Morgan Scott showed well, as did 2025 Hilton Head prep star Courtney Campbell and rising freshmen Amira Brown and PJ Benson. Good stuff, ladies. Way to rep the Loco, and we can't wait to see you back in your high school gyms this winter. For Loco Sports and WHHI, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Loco.
Thanks, Justin. Now let's look at a warming up forecast for the rest of the week for Maria Soden.
Thanks, Bob. Yep, so taking a look ahead, it doesn't look like the rain's going to be too bad throughout the rest of this week. We are going to see some scattered storms throughout the afternoons this weekend, but we will be getting a break from the rain on Friday. So taking a look at Thursday, however, it's going to be partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon, but should be clearing up by the evening. Hillness give a high of 89, a low of 79. Bluffton's have a high 91, a low of 76. And Beaufort's give a high 91 and a low of 77. The sunrise for Thursday is going to be at 6:34 and sunset's going to be at 8:24. Taking a look at the beach tides, low tide's going to be at 11:57 a.m. and high tide's going to be at 5:10 p.m. Taking a look into the rest of the week and into the weekend, again, Friday, it's just going to be partly cloudy with highs in the 90s and lows in the upper 70s. Come Saturday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a thunderstorm in the afternoon, and it's going to be highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s again. And then come Sunday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a thunderstorm in the later afternoon, possibly going into the evening, with highs in the 90s and lows in the upper 70s. That's it for today. Let's head it back to the desk.
Still lots on our plate on the WHHI Daily News. We're going to discuss the new merger of Habitat for Humanity organizations north and south of the Broad. We're also going to talk about Pockets Full of Sunshine. Great organization here in the Lowcountry. Up next, the historic Ridgeland Morris Center has some new things on tap for August. We'll talk about it next.